that are causing a quiet but powerful migration of interest towards a uh, sultanate of Oman. Oh, he's talking about XRP again. He says XRP is huge in Dubai. I don't know. I heard that real estate was huge in Dubai. XRP might be a form of uh, trade and investment that might be pretty decent in Dubai, but I would have to look into Dubai because when I was covering Dubai, I covered Dubai two times, once for Usman, and then I covered Dubai once because I came across Dubai, and Usman and I did some extensive details. And besides the precious metals and minerals and laws that favored non-residential trusts, real estate was one of the biggest investments in Dubai that I had found at the time. Um, but I mean, if there's some stock market information or some cryptocurrencies, because cryptocurrency is becoming a thing slowly but surely, then I haven't found that. So I would have to go back and double check to see what's going on with XRP related to um, Dubai. You said they're looking at Dubai tokenization, XRP with or will rule the world. We'll see about that. I don't have any information about XRPs or tokenizations that are profitable, so I will find out and then I will talk to you about it. Probably depending on how it works out, I might squeeze it into next Tuesday's discussion about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And what happened with the crashes with cryptocurrency, including Trump's cryptocurrency crash, so that we can have a better understanding of what you're talking about. Michael says, move to West Virginia, one of the lowest states to live in, but that's in the United States, where it's legal to marry your sister. Pause. Michael, why would you want to marry your sister? Most guys who grew up with their sister despise their sister. Why would you want to spend the rest of your life with the person that you could not wait to get away from your entire childhood? Just saying. I'm not down in the incest. I'm not down in none of that stuff. My concern is if she got on your damn nerves from birth to 18, why would you marry her for her to get on your damn nerves from 18 to death? That makes no sense. Make it make sense for me, Michael. Now, Brock says tokenization plays right into real estate and XRP and gold will work together. Okay, we'll see how it works. If tokenization is in fact impacting real estate and XRPs, I'll definitely look into it and I'll definitely let you know what's going on. He said, marrying sister doesn't sound on topic. You damn right it don't sound on topic. Michael, you need to sit down somewhere. You need to be on this thing. Um, Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. I'm trying to catch. I stopped talking for a minute there, Dylan, because I seen some people up here talking stupid. They got sometimes some people come up and they heckle the show, and I be wanting to entertain they heckling the show, and sometimes they come on and I don't even want to be bothered with them. I'm just like, well, I'm gonna do them a justice, and I'm just gonna delete the comment and not say nothing about it. And then they're gonna come back up and say something else negative, and then I'm gonna just block them. But there are other days where I don't mind them hanging out, and then we go ahead and have a chat. But today isn't one of those days. So if we're not talking about Dubai, the country of Omen, uh, or at least one of the topics between Dylan and Michael, then I'm going to ask those individuals that are diving in with inappropriate questions because there's technically no stupid questions that can be asked. It's just an inappropriate and wrong time to ask. So since at the beginning of the show, I had asked everybody that came to the show to keep their questions reasonably directed towards, and that's the reason why Dylan he was able to do what he was doing because Michael made a declarative statement. The other gentleman that I keep deleting his comments, I he's asking ridiculous questions that I said ridiculous questions can wait till Sunday. Is in Michael Chola, but Michael's the admin. Why else will he say That's just strong and strange and weird. Every now and again, Michael gets a few beers in him, and then Michael's got to say something half cocked. We have a few laughs. I'm not saying that we can't have fun on the show. We can clown around and joke and stuff. I'm not objective to strawman topics, but I want to limit those strawman topics to reasonably close to the main topic so that we don't have today's topic be about Omen and we're talking about politics instead. I want us to kind of keep our conversations close to the vest when it comes down to straw man discussions. But yeah, if we segue into something and segue into something else, then I'm okay with that. Because here on this and that, we do talk about this, that, and everything in between. But I don't want people to test that theory and just come out of left field and start talking to me about the Vatican and what's going on with the Pope's affair with the nun and the little boy. I don't want to hear about all that stuff. Michael says it's a great day. My favorite neighbor is going up for foreclosure on December 3rd. That's real estate. You told me that yesterday, though. Sometimes off base, just a little bit off base. Now, before we journey into Omen, we have to set a benchmark. And this is usually what I do at the beginning of the show. And this benchmark is, of course, Dubai. This is the standard of success for these types of continents. There's no denying that it has a very incredible success story. And in just a few decades, it transformed from a quiet, perilling town into a global metropolitan area that attracts talent as well as capital from every corner of the earth. He said, yeah, when you speak on here, I have some respect. I respect you, even though we don't agree on everything. I appreciate that you spend your time on here. And yeah, yeah, bro, I spend so much time because I spend hours upon hours digging up this information. Then I spend hours upon hours organizing this information in a linear track. Then I spend hours upon hours putting it into a massive script so that I can get back to the topic after somebody distracts me from what I was talking about, so that I can still provide the information to the individuals that are waiting to hear what I have to say. So I do so much to make sure that it can be reached. And then because YouTube is hypersensitive, I have to deal with being in the restricted area, the adult section, where I don't get the reach I'm supposed to get. And then I have trolls that triggers the algorithm. So I have to play the devil's advocate and allow some trollage so that the algorithm can show the podcast to people who actually want to see it because I'm in the adult section. Everybody who has restricted mode, if you go to your YouTube settings and scroll down on your cell phone, restricted mode is turned on automatically. If you turn off restricted mode, you would not believe exactly how much stuff is available on YouTube. Half of my podcast will pop up that you didn't know was there because a lot of the topics that we talk about, sensitive topics, controversial topics, too much profanity, inappropriate language in the comment section throws us into the adults only section. Yeah, Michael's 71 years old. So so yeah, I appreciate people coming in. I appreciate us having off like colorful topics. I don't have a problem with that. And I don't mind people disagreeing with me. I actually prefer when somebody finds a way to disagree with me with facts and logic, not just disagreeing with me because they think I'm stupid or they disagree with me because they feel like I'm misogynistic because I had an opinion or shaming me because I'm a man and men aren't supposed to talk about how we don't like the way women behave. None of those things are what I'm okay with. But if I talk about a topic and I'm wrong about it and somebody can prove that I'm wrong about it, we can mock trial this like high school. I don't have a problem with that. We can run it. We can run it. He said, what do you think about Duke basketball this year? See, that is not Omen. That is not real estate. That is not investments. He's going to place a bet that will win the whole thing. Cameron Boozer is the man. Okay, technically that's investments because you're gambling. I think you put your money in the wrong spot. You have a low chance of getting your money back. But I did not compile a list of facts and evidence to prove to you why that was not a good spot to put your money. Now, the upside to Dubai is legendary. The career opportunities are immense. particularly in finance, technology, and tourism. It's a place where ambitious professionals come to make their mark, and the infrastructure is world class. A seamless ecosystem, gleaming metro lines, sprawling malls, and service at your fingertips by all means, bro. Like you can run out of gas, call a number, and they'll bring gas to your current location. I don't know why you ever want to run out of gas, but if you didn't feel like going to a gas station, you could just stop somewhere, mall, gas station at work, call a number, have them bring gas to your car, and just put gas in your car in the parking lot. I'm sitting here like, dope. I would never have an empty tank of gas. Every couple of days, I'd be like, hey, bring me 5 gallons. You know, I also seen in Dubai. Yeah, I know Duke number one, but that doesn't mean you put your money in the right spot. Underdogs. Anyway, um, I've seen information about Dubai where they have very strict laws, rules, and regulations, which allows the streets to be cleaner. They're heavily enforcing on speeding tickets, and their speeding tickets out there are tuned to your financial income. So if you are more financially successful, you could be in there for the same traffic violation as somebody else and pay 10 times more than the other person just because you make more money. It is crazy. The internet connection has been a little tough, Dylan. I mean, we anybody who's using T-Mobile right now, they're switching over to fiber optics, and their connections have not been as good as they used to be 2 years ago. But if you get the fiber optics, the ground lines, it is fantastic. All of the cell phone companies, AT&T and T and everybody are now sharing towers and in order to get access to the 5G network. And that's another issue because now you're not sharing your phone service with the people in your neighborhood that has your phone company. You are sharing your phone service with every phone provider in the area, which increases the quantity of traffic on your tower, which decreases the quantity of service on your account. So all phone companies are deprived, but T-Mobile prioritizes their customers with 5G service. So if my cell service is slow, your cell service is slower if you have somebody that's not AT&T. I mean, somebody that's not T-Mobile. I just call them up and have them take $150 off my bill every month, and then I'm running 2 gigs of. There goes Dylan. I'm running 2 gigs of high speed data, and I'm just like, that's all right. They're gonna take it off my bill. What's going on, Dylan?
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me on your podcast.
I appreciate you coming back. Um, what? Well, I don't know. I haven't really gotten into the today. I'm about to get into the differences between Dubai and Oman. We're going to be providing some information about places to invest and places to um, make money. And actually, I got some information about the traditional modern wife out there, which is actually pretty interesting for those fellas that are looking for a place to go that is not the American experience. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard you talk a lot about Philippines. I think that's a great place to start, especially since they speak English, is what I hear. I've never been
Number
myself.
one location. Filipino women are number one choice because they are the most loyal. They will follow your instructions. They are traditionally family oriented. They
Right.
come from a culture that is backed by keeping the family together. So you're most likely to be successful in the Philippines, Vietnam, Japan, Indonesia, and I think Singapore. It's like the top five.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about Da Nang, Vietnam, the beach city. Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, I don't know how hard the challenge is being a native English speaker and then transitioning to a place that speaks Vietnamese. Um, maybe it'll be easier because a lot of places around the world are now speaking English. So we do have that to the advantage.
In the local, in the high tourist areas, because English is the dominant language in international business. more people speak English. They have expat cultures in every country around the world where people have moved to the country and settled into that area. So that area has a larger quantity of English speakers. However, when you
Right.
start going into the outskirts, especially when you're dealing with the older generation that has not yet quite wrapped themselves around English or have no desire to learn anything new, because they're too old to benefit from it, they may not speak English, and that's when you start facing dialogue challenges. But
What
if you're looking at someone under the age of 30, yeah, most people speak English.
I had said, most Vietnamese speak English. My experience, actually, like being in Texas, the Vietnamese people here, they speak, a broken English. They do speak
Yeah.
English, but um, so maybe basic English. But when you try to get more nuanced and try to explain things, it does become hard. So that's why I talk about the language barrier. But
Well, your language barrier is going to get worse as the person you're talking to gets older. So the people that are in their late 60s, early
oh, right,
70s have no
okay,
interest in learning anything new. The individuals your
yeah,
age, my age, younger, that are more diverse would have more experience in that second and third and fifth languages. The women in the Philippines speaks five languages fluently. So, and English is one of them. So it is easier for you to go to certain countries and talk to somebody younger than you that speaks English, but when you go to certain areas and you want to say, talk to your girlfriend's grandmother, there's a language barrier there,
yeah.
and
Well,
that's going to be where the issues come in at. When you start family oriented scenarios and you're trying to get the blessing from the family, which is tradition, and they don't understand the words coming out of your mouth, it's kind of hard to get that green light to go forward. You need a translator. They make devices for that now where you can headphones that translates for you. So you talk your language and it translates to their language. You just got to bring two sets with you when you go.
that's that Star Trek device, right? From Star Trek.
They actually no, there's a real one now, but it originally was a Star Trek idea, where there was just a device that you would wear, and it would just translate everybody's dialogue to the one language of the people watching the show, so that everybody knew what was going on. But they
Yeah.
actually do have headphones that translate. They have an internal mic. It takes in the language that's being stated and then regurgitates it to the listener in the listener's native language. So you could have two sets of headsets that are tuned, one tuned to the person you're talking to and one tuned to yourself. And then you can talk to them and they can talk to you and y'all can hear it in your own language without having to speak the other person's language. So
Cool.
that type of equipment that just came out over the last year or two, I want to get it and see how well it works. And
Yeah.
I'll be letting you guys know about it. But that's a very good way to improve your ability to communicate with somebody in a different language,
Yeah.
especially one that has a dual purpose, because then you only need one set of headsets. I give you the left ear, I wear the right ear, and then we just listen
Right.
to each other talk.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of different gadgets like that on TikTok Shop, but Dick Tracy, what that was?
Uh, that was a phone. The Dick Tracy watched the either the watch or the phone that could translate everything. That was way back in the day before Star Trek.
Who's Dick Tracy? No, just kidding.
Oh
Just
boy, I was about to explain that. That's like asking me who's Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget. That's what I was gonna say. The more common one.
Well, see, you had Dick Tracy, Inspector Gadget, and you also had MacGyver and
Yeah.
James Bond
Yeah.
and 007. Well, 007 is James Bond, and then Jason Bourne. So you had individuals. Well, Jason Bourne is more recent, but 007 back in the day, he had the phone, the watch that you could talk into, and they made that the Qualcomm Talk watch, and then they came out with the gear and all of these other watch phones that can you could talk into. So the technology that people were experimenting with like 20 years before it became mainstream was on the TVs as high tech gadgets that nobody had access to. And now today, the very same stuff that you saw on TV that was like science fiction is now reality. So eventually, we will have flying cars because we've had flying cars in our TV shows for 20, 30 years now. So 30 years from now, we could
Yeah,
see
the
flying cars.
Jetsons. Remember the Jetsons?
The Jetsons, yeah.
I love that, the automatic thing when you get out of bed and then you go, you get automatically dressed and showered, and you get
Oh,
sat at the
that'd be
breakfast table.
fantastic. Oh, but you notice, what's the name of the maid? I don't remember the name of the
uh,
maid. Flo, I think.
uh,
I don't remember. But the maid was a female robot.
oh,
And I point that out because they're making female robots right now.
interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I say.
I know that I know the maid. Her body was very wide, like a
Refrigerator.
heavy set woman. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it
it was
wasn't
made like
it
a
wasn't a
woman.
thin maid. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a slim bot,
Let me see.
but it still was made like a human, and that's what Rosie. That's what he's got. Rosie the robot. So
Rosie. Yeah, I just saw it. Yeah.
yeah, so that is what I'm thinking about now. We have a lot of the big manufacturers that are making female robots. Tesla's making they made robot cops from what I've seen. I don't know if that was an AI
Oh,
generation or I've seen a short. Elon Musk has made some robots that have like police written across the chest or something like that. I've got to go do some deep dives to make sure what's real and what's not fake news related to these robots. But I did
yeah.
see that he had made robots, humanoid robots. Um, and they he did a debut of them either quarter 1 of this year or quarter 3 of last year, and I was like, Jesus. And I said that's going to be the next police department. And then we're going to have Skynet taking over the world. And then when I seen over the past week, like a police robot getting out of a car, I was like, oh yeah, there it is. That's the end of the beginning of the end right there. Because as soon as the robot takes human error and human mercy out of the decision making of the robot taking action, that's when everybody just starts getting drug off the street for
Well,
every unknown law
well,
in the book.
yeah. Judge Dredd was a pretty. It seemed, pretty crazy when they were the judge, jury, and executioner. They would tell you right away, how do you plead, and then right to prison.
Yeah. Well, in Florida, that's what they do. They take you off the sidewalk, they put you in jail, and then you have to go talk to a judge and convince them that you should have never been arrested to begin with.
Oh, it's the other way around in Texas. Certain Most all misdemeanors, uh, depending on the dollar amount, they don't even take you to jail. They say you are under arrest, but because of our jail situation, we're
You get you a
deferring
ticket.
your punishment, and you have a ticket, but you still have to go to court in 30 days or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, the
So, and
issue
it still
the,
holds all the responsibility, but
but
yeah,
I
the
mean that's a
COVID, the
little better because at least you get to go to court as a free person and discuss it. But in Florida, now they drop you off at the local county jail, they book you, they process you, put you in them county oranges, and then you go to court 3 days later and explain to the judge that you don't belong there. And then
yeah.
the judge
Well,
listens to what's going on and sometimes
the
lets
good
you go.
the good thing is a lot of the cities, um, if you're intoxicated, they won't charge you, and they'll take you to the drunk tank for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it really depends. It's really interesting that alcohol is looked at as not a big deal, but you know, uh,
As long as you're not in the car
mar-
when it happens.
yeah, but marijuana is so much more serious. At least in
Oh, but
Texas,
marijuana is a big problem. And the reason
right?
why marijuana is a big problem is because they're not getting a cut of the profit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the other states are legalizing it, but not here.
And they're not, as long as they're not getting a cut of the profit, they have a huge problem with it.
Yeah,
The other states that are legalizing it requires you to get permits, register it, keep count of your inventory, and then pay them a commission. So
right.
they get dues like the mafia in order for you to grow weed on your land.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're still consuming it though. That doesn't.
Oh, it's not going to stop consumption, and it does not stop you from being arrested for it. It'll stop the seller from selling it, from going to jail for selling it, but it does not stop the user from going to jail for having it because you have to prove that you got it from a government authorized source. Otherwise, you go to jail. Then you also have the issue of even if you have a medical marijuana license that allows you to not go to jail for the possession of a limited quantity of what is considered personal use, you can still get fired from your job from being under the influence of a narcotic, even
Yeah,
if it is prescribed by a doctor.
I remember the guy that I went to one of those cannabis stores inside Las Vegas the first time a few years ago, and he's like, "Hey, just keep the receipt on you, and you're good." I'm like, "What?"
Hmm.
So it was a very
It's a purchase.
interesting thing. They have all kinds of food there, products. It's not just about smoking it.
No, you can eat it. You can sprinkle it into your food like oregano. You can get the infused sugars and put it into your drink.
How?
They got drops. They've got wax. You can melt it. You can bake it. You can do all kind of stuff
Yeah.
with it. You can build houses with it. There's a lot of stuff that can be done with it. Rope, you know. Uh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mr. Fur. Um,
Versace.
but the I was hoping that wasn't Forsack because
No, I think it's a play on the
the
word
word was blurred.
Versace, but with the F.
Yeah,
Versace.
I was hoping that he wasn't trolling me with the donation, and I was like, Mr. Fur. I'm not going to go to the other half. Mr. Fur
Yeah.
5, get my prescription upgraded. These are $800 glasses. I can't get the prescription upgraded that often. Whew.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're making cash off of it, and because they're making cash off of it, um, the they're not actually arresting you for drug trafficking anymore.
Right.
That's too hard to prove. Now they're arresting you for under the influence of a narcotic, public intoxication of a controlled substance. You cannot
Yeah.
dispute it. You
Sure.
can't dispute it. You did whatever when they say you did that, you did that. There's nothing to do about that. So I mean, you would
You
have
know,
to take a blood
it
test
was
and all this other
interesting
stuff.
because the guy in Las Vegas told me, he says you can't go and smoke it on the street. You can only do it in your house. But everywhere I walked around, there was plumes of marijuana smoke on the strip.
Well, well, the thing is that you can't smoke. You technically can smoke it on the street, but you technically cannot smoke it on the street. And the reason why you cannot smoke it on the street is because you are clearly glazed over when they approach you.
Right.
Bloodshot eyes. You have the smell on your clothes. You can't get rid of it. So there's ample evidence in the moment that you're clearly publicly intoxicated. And when you
Right.
take the definition of publicly intoxicated away from purely being alcohol exclusive to being including medication related, if you smoke weed, you're intoxicated in public, and you can go to jail for that. So now they found a loophole where they're going to profit off of the sales of weed, and then they're going to profit off of your intoxication of weed on the criminal side of things. Have you doing DUI classes, probation officers, random drug tests, where you can still be on weed, but you still got to pay for the drug test and pay for the probation officer, which makes absolutely no sense. It and then it ruins your reputation. It's crazy, but it's all about making money. He said, "Did we go to the Mustang?" No, we did not go to the Mustang Ranch. This guy. So, we were talking about the infrastructure of Dubai being one of those world-class places with a seamless ecosystem of gleaming metro lines, right? So
What
you
is
can
that
live
other what is that other country you were mentioning? Sorry to interrupt.
Omen.
Omen. Okay, never heard of it.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm covering it. One of the things that I try to do is not go after the most popular places that everybody knows about. And the reason why I don't go to the most popular places that everybody knows about because everybody knows about it. The purpose of the podcast is to provide public knowledge to people who didn't know that that was something that could do you could do that places that exist that you can invest in, that you can grow in, that you can use as an alternative to your original decisions and aid you in the ability to be more successful. because in your life, the decisions that you make are limited to the options that you believe that you have. The uh, probability of making a bad decision is heightened based on the limited quantity of good choices you have left to utilize. I'm going to have to use that statement in court. Now, by providing people with more options, I expand their capabilities to find another way. And that also means that instead of burning your city to the ground, if you don't like where you're living, move. If you don't like the way politics work, move. If you don't like, oh, that's Talina one. Oh, that's Talina from way back when. Hello, Talina. I was looking at
Okay.
your comments. This is Talina from way back when. I did not notice that.
Okay, but
Then when I seen it, I was like, "Oh, dear, it's Talina." He said, "Fries, what's up, guys? Hey, 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 hey." So everybody's diving in now. I really appreciate y'all diving in. I appreciate you coming in, Talina. I did not know that was you. I was wondering what because Talina was a female last time, and if that is a female, that is a really good haircut. I don't know if you can see that. You let me know. That's because
yeah,
it looks like lipstick. I can't tell. I don't know who's telling the truth until they come onto my podcast. I just assume that everybody is a overweight guy in the most basement covered in Cheetos, just
hey, that's me. I'm not in the
claiming
basement.
that they're a female.
I'm a girl.
I get trolled so much that I'm just like, you know what? I'm just waiting on like an ex or a stalker or somebody to just dive in the podcast and just ruin my day. I'm just
Join
So if
the
I don't know,
man.
I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna ignore those comments until the comments start making sense. But then when I seen a name, I remember the name. I'm like, oh yeah, she was one that she donated before to the channel. She's helped out plenty of times before, and but she had long hair last time, so I did not recognize the face. Oh yes, this is a haircut. Okay, well, congratulations on your haircut. I hope that you're doing well. So when we talk about different countries, I cover different countries for us to have other options. Men that because this is a male driven podcast from the male's perspective. Men that are not satisfied with their social interactions in their current culture could find better interactions in a different culture.
Right,
If the dating pool that you're in right now is not favorable to you, then instead of you being depressed and quit dating and staying isolated into your own house, you can build up yourself, make yourself financially successful, and that be the motivation to allow you to fly to another country and go and find you somebody better. Now, or seemingly
absolutely.
better. The rumor has it around the feminist movement that broke men are flying to other countries to get women to mold them into being servants for
Um,
misogynistic men. And while I don't know what's been going on before I realized that there were better women in other countries, but I can tell you that what I've researched is that the $2,000 to $4,000 plane ticket to get to the other side of the world to find a woman in the Eastern culture that is family oriented and has traditional values and respectful towards her boyfriend and husband, just so that you can say hello, plus the cost of the date, and then you got to spend $4,000 to $8,000 to get her back, $2,500 for her passport, and then she is your financial responsibility, $20,000 a year or more for 10 years or until she gets her citizenship, whichever one comes first. That type of effort cannot be done by a broke man. Then when you take into consideration if you're coming back to America, you're paying for your standard of living in America, and then you're paying $2,000 to $5,000 a month in another country, you're going to spend 15 grand to go find you a wife and bring her back to America while spending your 50, 70, 100, $200,000 a year standard living in America. That's not
right,
something a broke man can do. So when the women were saying, "Oh, he's just doing that because he's broke. He's dating this girl in this other country because he's broke," I'm like, "Well, shit, it's cheaper over there, but he sure the fuck ain't broke." There's no way that he could be broke because he wouldn't have a house in America if he was living in Japan, Thailand, Russia, Cambodia, Belize, Kazakhstan, because you couldn't afford to stay in two places at the same time. Um, you're right. Some
I'm with
people can't find a place to stay anywhere. That's the people that are homeless. And that's why I started talking about different countries around the world where you can find better places to live and more traditional family lifestyles. That's what started me doing that. And then people liked it back then, and I just started covering it every Wednesday. Um, People started making it seem like it was nearly impossible to find a place that they could afford to live. And then I started covering topics about how you can make money easily so that you don't have to depend on big business to be your only source of income. That led me to start talking about different ways that you can budget yourself more effectively so that your lack of wasteful spending gives you more capital gains that you can utilize towards
Right.
investments, towards emergency funds and retirement. Then the thought of ways that you could partner with somebody that's fiscally responsible instead of you renting her or bribing her for her to stay with you in other such ways that that partner that partners with you and now you got two incomes working towards the same goal that y'all can make it to a millionaire status inside of 10 years of dating, put that into a trust, and now y'all have guaranteed money coming back to y'all even if y'all decided to break up because the trust is binding even after the relationship is over. You have ways of securing your assets and securing your relationship and securing your future. And that just led to what we have right now with the podcast is that I come from the most unorthodox way in the most unknown location that, hey, you could have went here and started a life, found the right person, built a business, had you the proper support, had a good family, and still been successful. So the reason why people don't have what they need to be successful is because they don't look. And the reason why people don't have enough money to sustain themselves is because they're not financially responsible. And the reason why they're less financially capable than what they used to be before they got into a relationship is because they partner with somebody that is also not financially responsible. And that's the reason why the two of you got together and you're broke together instead of y'all coming together and not having any financial problems
Mhm.
because you save money with roommates. You save money with second and third incomes in your household. So why are you still broke when you went from two houses, two jobs, two cars, two bills to one house, one car? You have less bills, more money, and you're still broke. Where's the extra money going? So that's why
Yeah.
I came up with Omen. I find a new country every week. I do the research on it and then I tell you guys about it.
Yeah. I
So
remember
that's
that
why you
country
get
I
Omen.
came that country I came across was Kazakhstan. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Kazakhstan, Belarus, I'm trying to think of all the rest of them that was around it, because they were all right next to one another. Bangladesh, because they were all surrounding Bangladesh. Belarus is all off the coast. Kazakhstan, I do believe, is off to the left. Um, I think India is over there, if I remember correctly, all in the same area. Um, and they were all different countries that were unknown, but a majority of those countries were female driven economies where the still traditional family oriented women, but they were small business owners. They were union workers. They were industrial workers. So they actually have a culture out there where they have stay at home husbands, stay at home boyfriends, stay at home dads, and the women go out and work. So still with the modern feminist movement of higher financial living women, go girl, do you, but don't oppress your boyfriend because you make more money than him. Because apparently in Bangladesh, the women are running their own business and respecting their husband at the same time. So why can't we get that
well.
in
I mean,
America?
yeah, it's possible. It doesn't have to be separate. You know.
And that was what started that trend. So I was like, shoot, I'm just gonna drive this story home, and I'm just gonna keep showing there's so many other countries around the world where women can be financially successful and still be respectable to their husbands and allow their men to be masculine to the levels and extent that he needs to be in a relationship, and then be able to build a family around that.
Mm.
And waiting on women to dive in and tell me because Talini is like one of the women that come on a regular basis, and they don't provide me with any facts that shows me that this isn't possible. So then when I ask them, well, why do we not get this in America? Why do we not get
Right.
this in Western culture? There's no response. So I'm just like, all right, well, I'm just going to keep proving the point. But in the meantime, I help people find out better ways to improve their standard of living.
You
Now,
know, I,
Eric
I
says
mean,
that he bought some MIT and some ORC today. That's good. ORC had its ex dividend date to Friday. No, well, technically Thursday, but the record date is Friday. So I'm glad that you picked it up today because after today, you're not going to be able to get it. Go ahead, Dylan.
um, gosh, I blanked out on that when I saw the thing about the stocks. Yeah, I forgot to ask you. I should have asked on yesterday's show, but you remember hearing about the possibility that they're going to get rid of quarterly reporting? Have you heard about that at all?
I have not yet heard about the quarterly reporting being dismantled yet because we just came off of the shutdown, so they have not been reporting regularly
Oh,
um,
right, yeah.
since the shutdown. So the big news is now that we're getting accurate assessments for the stock options, which aids in our ability to utilize the dividend rotation strategy. But I will be looking into that to find out what the deal is with it. If they're not doing quarterly reporting, what are they going to? Annual?
Right, have no idea. Yeah, they talked about it, because every company is like, okay, how much better can we beat the expectations for the report? And if it beats the expectations, then the stock goes way up the next day. And if it misses the earnings, then it goes down that day,
But
the
that's a
next day.
projection gamble. So how are you going to be able to watch that day to day on Wall
I
Street?
I have no idea. I mean, I just Trump did tweet out about it, saying that he wants to get rid of quarterly reporting with companies, but I don't know what you replace it with.
I don't I'm about as lost as you are with that dynamic because I'm trying to figure out where
Yeah,
where would they benefit from uh doing away with quarterly reporting.
and just because he said that they want to do that doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. It's just an idea, I guess.
Right.
But
In
that
my
that wouldn't.
observation, it um it should make some kind of a difference to uh how do I put this? The the timeline in which information is released to the public. And that's the biggest concern. The timeline
Right.
as to how it's released to the public. So if they're doing a daily projection, like I believe that we're going to make X number of dollars in sales today or this week, and then they don't meet those sales, how would an investor be able to invest based on that projection? I mean,
You know,
speculate because I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I mean, just
A day
it's
trader could follow that, but I'm not a
well,
day
yeah,
trader.
yeah, because I mean, day trading gets really complicated because they use software and they try to follow trends, and I mean, they have to risk a lot of capital just to make their
A small
percentages.
quantity of profit. You're right.
And I mean,
I
sure, if you make 3% off of $1 billion, you still have three
made a
million
lot of money.
dollars. But
Yeah,
it's $1 billion swing, and you could lose a lot more too. So,
you could lose 7% and make 3% and be at an average net loss of 4% and be really pissed off.
jeez,
Yeah, I know.
I,
That
I
that's
don't
one of the
need that
reasons.
much.
No, I tell people to use the cash stocks because with the cash stocks, especially as beginner investors, you don't have to have pro status level of knowledge about the stock market. You can learn while you grow your wealth and the ability to put your money in certain places with cash stocks. If you're getting 50 cents a share on your stock and you have 2,000 shares, you got like what 500 to $1,000. Doesn't matter if the stock is worth $3 or $300. The value of your dividend return is going to stay the same. If the value of the stock is less than what it was when you bought in and you hold it, you're going to keep getting dividends from it until it exceeds what you bought into it, and then you can sell it. But if you have a growth stock like Tesla that doesn't pay dividends and it loses $200 in value, You lost your $200. It's just gone. There's nothing that you can do about that
Well, I
until
mean,
if you.
you wouldn't sell it if you lost more than this. I mean, it depends how much what your position size was, right? But if you're putting 10,000 investment, you wouldn't take profit if you had negative equity, right? You would just leave it there.
But you can't do anything with it though. So people would leverage the value of their portfolio
Oh
as a
wow,
capital loan, and they would use
wow.
that loan to buy stuff. Now,
Well,
if you
that's
lost the Yeah, I covered this on the show before. You can get
yeah,
a line of credit or a capital loan leveraging your stock portfolio as collateral towards that cash loan. Then you can utilize that cash loan in order to buy assets, cash up front. So if you have $1 million, you can probably get $750,000 line of credit to go buy you a $500,000 house. As
right. That's
long as your stock portfolio doesn't dip below that $700,000 where they start selling
right,
off your assets in order to pay off their loan. But the
right,
problem is that if you had $1 million worth of Tesla stock and then Tesla took a $300,000 dip, you just lost out on a $300,000 blanket that you had on your line of credit. However,
yeah,
with cash stocks, if you had $1 million worth of cash stock with a 20% return, you'd be getting $200,000 a year back. If you took
right.
out a $700,000 a year loan or $700,000 loan on your $1 million cash stock, instead of you reinvesting the $200,000 into the $1 million principal, you could take the
Mm,
$200,000 and put it towards the $700,000 loan, bringing it down to under $500,000, which is still 70% of the $300,000 dip. You can wait until it goes back up. You're still getting the $200,000 a year in cash from the dividends. And all of the money that you're putting on the loan is a tax deduction against the taxation that you would have made off of the dividends you got from the stock option, which means that your $700,000 house that you bought or $500,000 house that you bought and the $150,000 BMW that you bought is technically free because your day-to-day check does not go towards the car or the house. You got the
right.
deed, you got the title, and your stock option pays for the loan. That's not something that you can get from a growth stock. That's what the debate we had yesterday with the gentleman talking about go to Bitcoin, go to gold and silver. If the value of gold shot up to $25,000 an ounce, that's fantastic. But you don't have $25,000 until you sell the gold.
Yeah,
You
that's
have
just
the
a
value,
prediction until it actually happens.
but no, even when it happens, it is a numerical value that you're entitled to until you collect it, that you
Oh,
can
right. Until you
leverage
exchange
against.
it, right? Yeah.
Right. And you can leverage that entitlement as collateral for capital
Hmm.
gains that you can utilize towards buying assets. But until you leverage it or sell it and collect upon it, you don't have it to spend. I can take the stocks I cashed out on yesterday, put them in my pocket today, and then I can have money on Monday to go buy stuff for Thanksgiving on Thursday. The people who
Hmm.
got gold might have to wait until December to get that cash,
Right.
and that's what I was talking about. So there's a different dynamic there with investment opportunities. So when they start changing when they report, that's going to change the frequency in which investors invest. It'll help
Yeah.
with the billionaires high rolling status.
Well,
But
I have like I have one stock that I always reinvest in. Um, but the way I reinvest, I haven't bought stock in it per se out of
how
my own
many
cash.
stocks do you have?
Different stocks or
Yes,
stocks of the one,
different stocks.
just one. I only have one stock.
You should diversify.
Yeah,
Try to buy
I
two.
well, I mean, I've been buying in this company since it was a lot less. So,
Well,
but
that's
every
that's
quarter,
not an issue. To prevent from having catastrophic failure in case this company starts having problems, it's more
right?
effective, especially if it's a dividend paying stock, to take the dividends from that stock and invest in a second stock to offset that stock, whether
True.
you buy into the competitor or if you buy into a different market.
Yeah, it's gotten so big now that I should consider diversifying, but it's been good. Yet, the company called Eaton, the electric company.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, their dividend pays every 3 months, and
Quarterly,
instead of taking, huh?
quarterly pays.
Yeah, quarterly. Yeah, exactly. And instead of taking profit, because they were sending me checks at one point, there's an option uh, to take the dividend payments and buy more stock in the company.
Yeah,
So
dividend
that my
investment principle. That's a drip account. Dividend reinvestment principle.
yeah, so now I don't have to do anything on the taxes except for that 1 year that I did it like 10 or 11 years ago. I took
Well, that's reinvesting it into that account is fine.
right.
But any new money that you get to invest in stock, you should invest in another stock that is different from that one so that you can have more diversity.
Well, I did.
Electricity is good. Oil is good to have a competitor with. So Shell and Chevron that I have on the show, Shell, Chevron, and Exxon are good ones. You can buy into multiple electric companies. That way, you have a broader coverage for the electric industry, just in case a specific location where that service provider is, if it comes across natural disaster and it stops producing power for 3 months, like in Katrina, you won't lose your values in your total portfolio because you have stock in multiple electric companies. And then if you diversify into other things like real estate investment trust, you have more capital coming from other areas that you can still reinvest in the one that you have, but you expand your opportunities to make revenue by looking into some other options.
Yeah, I think just because I like to keep my life as simple as possible, I would go crazy if I owned 25 different stocks and I got
You don't got to
25
get
different,
25,
you
10.
know, all the different letters and stuff that they send you already, all the junk mail. Oh my God.
I get emails on all of them. So you can only imagine like 52 of them up here. I get emails from all of them. It is heart disheartening to have all of them, but all you really needed, like I did a show for the course satellite strategy, all you really needed is your favorites and then maybe 5 or 10 more that you would utilize to give you a blanket for dips in certain markets. So when electricity is down, but real estate is up, your portfolio's average is still up. If oil is up and electricity is down, your average portfolio is still up. That's the goal. So if you
Right.
only have one, if the company dips, even if it's temporary, while it's down, you're down. But if that company was 20% of your portfolio or even 40% of your portfolio, if the other 60% was somewhere else, if
Right.
everything else was up when this was down, you would have a 60% increase when you experience that 40% decrease. So that's why you should look into others. And that's why I did the work for everybody. And I found all of the best ones to grab that are undervalued. They're very cheap to get into if you want to. And then they're most of them are dividend paying stocks. So when you go find them and you see that they pay anywhere between 5 to 12 cents a share every month, or between 20 and 50 cents a share every quarter, some of them $1.75 every quarter, you can grab them and hold on to them and do the drip thing like you're doing with the company you have now, but you would have more diversification across your portfolio, which will give you more confidence. Because when you look at your portfolio, especially if you're using fintech software to do it, when you look at your portfolio, you see the overall plus and minus of your total portfolio versus the individual plus and minuses of the stocks that you buy into. You might have two
Right.
down, three up, and be total up, and that's gives you a little bit more security emotionally when the market crashes like it did in October.
Yeah, I mean the market crash in October was, in my opinion, excellent because it presented
Oh yeah,
a great buying opportunity. I can't remember how low Eaton went to. I know it's like 340 right now, but I mean it was like $200,
right.
and a year before that it was at like 350. So it's like I think this is the whole market just panicking.
Yep.
There's no way that this company just lost 40% of its value, and sure enough, it came back up. I mean,
It
because
didn't lose 40% of its value. The people needed their money to pay for their bills, so they pulled out, and that reduced
yeah,
the value of the company. So when everybody else who has money panics and runs from the stock market, those of us who aren't used to having money could care less and be like, fuck it, I'll throw more down into it because this
Right.
is a good spot for me. The average American making less than 250,000 a year is broke anyway. We don't
Right.
admit it, but we are. Most of us live paycheck to paycheck, and if we miss two
Well,
paychecks, we're pissed off.
yeah, you're not comfortable enough making most purchases because everything seems so inflated because it is. I mean,
It is.
your
So when the
buying
stock
power.
market tanks, the broke people can go and buy whatever they want to buy because now
Right.
you got the confidence to buy. And that's why I was telling the gentleman yesterday that a lot of those cash stocks that I found are under $25 a share. So imagine what's the dividend payout for the stock that you're talking about? What, 35, 40 cents a share, $1.25 a share for 250 to $300 a share?
So about 11 years ago, I guess to give you an idea of how much shares I have, I was getting about
Well, I was asking the
14,
dividend
14.
price, the
Yeah, I
dividend
don't
price
know.
versus the share price.
It, yeah, it's like
You should look into that.
1400 every 3 months.
Okay.
So I have no idea, to be
You
honest
should
with
take
you.
a look at that. You should take a look
Yeah.
at that at your own time and look into that because some of the ones that I found, they are doing like, for example, Prospect Capital is doing $2.80 a share for 5 cents a share dividend payout. Now that means that the 2,000 something dollars worth of stocks that you might have, or if you said that it was like 200 something dollars a share at one point in time, it's almost 300 right now, maybe a little over 300 a share. You could buy 300 shares of PSEC for the same price as one share of the stock
Right.
that you're buying. If you're
Okay.
getting 5 cents a share for 300 shares, that might give you $150. Where for one share, your company might be giving you $20. When you look at it like that, it's like, well, oh, dip, I could have bought this undervalued stock and made even more money while keeping the company that I have because I've been investing in this company for so long. But now you're
Right.
getting more dividends. If you look at the percentage yield of the company that you're using, and the percentage yield sounds like it's between 5 and 10%, and the companies that I found are between 18 and 25%, you could
Yeah, I mean
average
those
out.
numbers are great. I mean it's amazing numbers, the percentage wise.
Well, they're consistent numbers. The what happened has been over the past 5 or 10 years, those companies declined in investors for whatever reason. They are blue chip companies that have always paid and has always been around, and now they are at their cheapest. These stocks that used to be $30 to $50 a share are now under $10 a share. While they're under $10 a share, if you're picking them up, that 12 to 5 cents a share that would have been insignificant back when they were $30 to $50 a share is now giving you 20% return. So you can buy more shares for less money and get more dividends back per share, which allows you to increase your dividend return. So instead of you doing anything to the account that you have, I'm not saying sell any shares from the account that you have. Keep it set up the way you have it set up with the drip and everything to that effect. But any new money that you would like to invest in stocks, instead of just putting it all into that one stock, now you go and add to your portfolio other accounts that you can do the same drip setup with, where you can increase the quantity of dividends that are paid out. Because at some point between 50 and 70, you're going to want to quit your job. You're going to want to travel the world. You're probably going to have a woman on your arm at the time, and you're going to want to be able to live off of the dividends. Where you're going to tell them, stop doing a drip. I'll take those checks now, but it is better if you have more sources because the quarterly that you're doing is going to give you a check once every 3 months. But if you have three different companies that are doing a quarterly offsetting every month, you end up getting a check from a different company every month. So now you're getting paid monthly instead of getting quarterly. And that is a benefit to you. So I'm not, unlike the other guy, I'm not going to say give up on everything you've been doing. What you're doing is wrong. No, I'm saying add to it. Add to it by finding something else that you're comfortable with and keep doing what you're doing with the one you have, but take new money and put it towards something else so that you have more. And
Yeah,
that will give you a fuller picture.
I just looked it up. The dividend is $1.04 per share, and the annual yield is 1.22%.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
it's low.
PSBC is 20%, 20 to 22%, and Orchid Island is 18 to 20%. And if you added both of those to your portfolio, you would go from 1% return to like 15% or 17% return annually on your investment. If you was to add AGNC to that, and all three of those are monthly payers, then you would have a 15% return, which will average into two 20% returns, which would put you around 17% return, which means that you're going to get more money back on your investment. And now you've got
Yeah.
three monthly payers on top of your quarterly payer, which will give you a total of four stocks, which is way better than just having one. Yeah, see,
Wow.
when I give advice, I'm like, I'm going to help you do better. I'm not going to tell you what you're doing is
Sure.
wrong. I'm just going to help you do
Sure.
better.
What I'm doing is working. You know, 5,000 a year in dividend checks is nice, but for a long time I just
Five
had it
thousand a month
reinvested.
dividend checks is better.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, yeah. So
If
I
you
mean,
think about the quantity of value, I'm not going to tell you to sell, but if you think about the quantity of money that you have in your stock portfolio, and you imagine take that value and divide it by $7.35 or divide it by $2.85 and see the few 100,000 shares that you would have, and then multiply that few 100,000 shares by 12 cents a share and 5 cents a share, and you will see that you would go from making 5,000 a year to 5,000 or 7,000 or 10,000 a month
right,
just by changing to a different stock option, utilizing that same capital. But if you kept everything the way it is, now that you know, now you're like, well, you know what? I can start building on this other stuff and go from having just that $5,000 guarantee to now having $5,000 from somewhere else guaranteed to come in every month. So I go from getting my one check a year to getting 12 checks a year on top of that. And now I got 13 checks and I'm making way more money. And I don't got to work for it. That's the best part. What are your thoughts about that?
uh,
Oh, you're back.
it it's good. Yeah, sorry, the microphone was muted. I didn't realize. Um, yeah, I mean, it's smart to consider it. I mean, I have to look into it. I haven't looked into it recently. Um, what is this thing about HSA account? Uh,
Yeah, I
where you're
haven't addressed that account. He asked if it's smart to convert your dividends into an HSA account, which is supposed to be like a health insurance savings account, a
right,
health savings account. And what that does is that type of account you invest in, and then if you utilize the capital for medical treatment, it can be in some situations tax exempt capital.
right,
It can be in some situations also tax deferred until you use it. So
right.
as long as you're using it for authorized
Medical.
situations, you're less likely to pay taxes. Anybody who has a medical issue that requires ongoing medical treatment, that's a good idea. Anybody
Yeah.
who has um,
I mean,
the
if you can
desire,
save it, it says, I guess H stands for health, right? So
yep,
it's some type of
health
savings
savings
account. So,
accounts.
I mean, I would just, if I put money into it, I wouldn't think about using it. I would just save it until I get older in case
Well,
I
see,
don't
that's
have
what it's
cash flow.
for. That's what it's for.
Okay.
So
Oh,
instead of an
perfect.
IRA or a 401k, you get an HSA so that when you're in your 70s, you need medical care, you got to go to the doctor, something that your insurance doesn't cover. That premium can be covered by the money from your HSA so that you don't have to take money out of your own pocket to pay for your medical care. That's fine. I will
Right.
never say don't get an HSA. I will never say that an HSA is not valuable. I will never say that not having a life insurance policy is not valuable to your ancestors, your the people that you're um, valuing with. But I will say that can I personally benefit off of putting a life insurance policy on myself? Absolutely not. But if I put a life insurance policy on my father, oh yeah, I can bank off of that. You have to ask yourself, what does this account do for me and why
Right.
am I paying for it? If you understand what its purpose is, then you can understand if it benefits you. So converting dividends to an account that is designed for your retirement, that's fine. Because a brokerage account, which is what stock trading is, it's a brokerage account, is taxable on normal taxation outside of the deferred taxation or compromise taxation that is based off of when your money doesn't move. If you do a buy and hold situation, like what you got going on, you have a buy and hold situation. So because it's a buy and hold situation, a lot of the money that you make up to $34,000 when you're single, $64,000 when you're head of household. So start claiming head of household, or $97,000 if you're married. The money is tax exempt because it's not moving. When I move the money around every 3 days, every few days, that money is moving. And because it's moving, it's taxed normally. That's the only
Right.
difference. SHA, tax deferred or tax exempt because it's going directly on your medical bills. 401k, after I think 59 and a half, you don't have to pay taxes on it. IRA
Right.
might be the same way, but if you touch it before that, you don't have any. So you have penalties and stuff. You lose out on all your money. Life insurance policies, if you're using it for the benefit of that collateralized loan, you can take a loan, which is not going to be the full amount, but the maximum quantity you can borrow against your life insurance policy to go and buy a bunch of stuff. Now you owe the life insurance policy. Any profits that you would have gotten off the life insurance policy can be tax deferred because you're paying back the loan. And anything that you bought, you own. And if you liquidate your life insurance policy, which some people do, get $1 million policy, cap it out for its equity, and then borrow $900,000 towards it and go and buy a mansion, you don't got to pay for nothing. The house is bought cash up front. The loan was backed by your policy. If you liquidate the policy, the loan is paid off. You don't owe anybody, but it's a glorified savings account that is tax deferred.
Right.
Um, and in some situations, tax exempt. But if you die beforehand, that particular structure may not pay your death benefits. The death benefits one may not be structured for you to benefit from it financially. So you have a living will and then a death will, or a living life insurance policy and a death life insurance policy. So one that covers when you die, and then all the assets that it has to get covered on the estate, and then the other one that you can utilize and benefit while you're alive. I think it's
Right.
called a 77002, which it depends on what you're trying to use it for. I had a buddy
Yeah.
try to sell me some insurance, and he was trying to tell me that, oh, it'll benefit because of the kids. And I'm looking like, my kids ain't got no job. They ain't got, if I don't own it before I die, they're not going to get it
Sure.
because it's tied up into the business. So my homeboy, who is partnered with me in the business, he gonna get it all. So you're telling me get a
Right.
life insurance policy on myself for the sake of the kids? Shoot, my homeboy need to get a life insurance policy on me for the sake of him because all of the assets is gonna go to him and all the debt's gonna go with it
Right.
because he's the partner of the business. So everything is in the business's name. So you have to really think about what you're trying to accomplish when you start investing in stuff. This gentleman says after 65, you can withdraw it for anything you want, not just healthcare. You can withdraw it from anything that you want, not just healthcare, but it's not tax exempt if you withdraw it for anything other than healthcare. He said it also grows through interest like on IRA tax free. It's not tax free, it's tax deferred until
Right.
65. And if you use it for healthcare, it is tax exempt because it is designed for healthcare. But if you put that money up there, then you decide that you want a Porsche, you go buy a Porsche, they're going to tax you for taking that money out because it is tax
Yeah.
deferred.
All these IRA accounts, they're not tax exempt. They're tax deferred.
They're
Which,
deferred.
yeah,
Yeah,
you'll pay it on the back end, and people assume that, oh, I just get older. Okay, you're not going to pay the IRS penalty for
that's
early
it.
withdrawal, but you'll
It's
pay the
it's
deferred amount.
it's deferred. So what's going to happen is that the year that you take it out, whatever the tax value would be that year, that's what you're going to pay. So they're not going to hit
Right.
you with the penalties and
And
interest or nothing like that
and
for
and how do
30
you
years.
know? And how do you know that taxes aren't going to go up in 10 years?
What do
And
you
if they
mean?
go
It's
up,
gonna go up. It's
what,
guaranteed to
what,
go up.
so it seems even worse to put money in an IRA.
It, oh, he just realized, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's tax deferred. So the difference, so people believe tax free because I
Right.
don't pay tax on it this year. That's not
Right.
tax free. That is tax deferred.
Deferred.
Tax deferred means that you are not responsible. Just like your student loans are deferred, the bill is still owed, but you don't got to pay it this year. If you have like no interest, no penalties kind of deferment thing with taxation, you're not going to rack up this big bill that they're going to take out of your pocket when you get older. But the year that you pull it out for something that is not authorized for that account, like a health insurance savings account, you take it out and go and buy you marble stock, they're going to tax you
Right.
for that. Your health insurance thing, you take it out and you go and buy you a yacht, they're going to tax you for that. But if you take it out to get you some cancer treatment, it's tax exempt because it's
Right.
directly designed for Medicaid. That's the difference. When people know what it's supposed to do, what you're using it for, the results that you get from it is more beneficial. Not everybody realizes that. And we cover a lot of that stuff when we cover this stuff on the show because people don't know. Countries like Oman is a very good place to go and live and invest in. But not too many people really realize what's there and because they've never been. Most of the time, we only talk about the high profile countries. We only talk about the high profile cities in those high profile countries. And then we swear to heaven that we know everything we need to know about something we've never seen before. Yet we find ourselves in a position arguing with facts, using our opinion. And you can't prove it until you go there. So when somebody tells me, in HSA after I covered it on this podcast, which means I've already done the detailed research on it and discovered that it is taxable. They're telling me it's not. I'm like, all right, show me in the policy where it clearly says that this is exclusively 100% tax free for every purchase you decide to make after the age of 65. When you show me that, then I'll say, all right, you're good. You're right. I'll agree with you, but it is
Right.
selective. Just like that Trump account that he got for the kids. Those kids have a stock option that is tax deferred, but it is pre-taxed money. So mom and dad pays tax on it before they put it into the kid's account. Then the kid gets to keep that stock option until they're 18. Then when they take the money out, it is taxed on a different scale if you use it towards specific purchases like education or buying your own home or starting up a business. But if you take it and go do something else, like Floyd Mayweather at a strip club, they're going to tax you differently. There's a limited number of things that you can buy with that money and get any type of reduced taxation or non taxation, depending on what you put your money on. But as soon as you start putting your money on irresponsible things that are not covered under the guidelines of that Trump account, that 18-year-old account is still going to get hit with the same taxation as every other stock account, every other brokerage.
Right.
So you got to know what you can and can't do with it. But not too many people do the research. I do the research. Is they buy an acre of land and claim it as a loss as a rental property. Why? I think people have the wrong idea when it comes to that. You can buy an acre of land and it's only legally allowed to be claimed as a rental property if you are leasing it to somebody for some reason, which means that you got to have some type of contract that shows that somebody's renting the property from you. And
Sure.
that is not going to be considered a loss if you're getting paid off of the land. You have to show the cost of the land versus the profit off of the land to claim it as a rental property. You can buy the property, take a mortgage off on the land, and then use that loan as a tax deduction. It's a loss
I
because there's a debt against it.
I mean, the only people that I think would have you know an ability to claim land as a loss is if a farmer loses money on a crop. That's a
Yeah,
loss as a business, but just the actual purchase of a property is not a loss.
no, that's an investment.
Yeah.
It's a loss if you have contractually rented the property out to a tenant that's not paying the rent, which means that you have a bill that is not getting paid. That's a debt. That's a
But
loss.
even claiming it on your taxes, Like let's say you claim it as a $10,000 loss for lost rent that year. I mean, you'd have to be making several hundred thousand to have
Thank
that
you.
big of a tax bill. It's not
Exactly.
the government doesn't just give you a tax refund because you lost
No.
money.
You got to show that that property is supposed to be making money, and then the loss is going to be the difference between the profits that you made versus the amount you could have made, which means you're going to get less taxes on the profits that you did make off of any financial loss that you had. So any type of foreclosure, cost of court, attorney fees, property damage, renovations, anything to that effect that you had to invest in the property while trying to make money is part of the deductions off of the profits made off of the property. But if you buy a piece of empty land, like let's say you buy the Walmart parking lot, you're not going to be able to take that as a loss. Now, if you're the Walmart store and that Walmart goes out of business, the amount of money it used to make versus the amount of money it's not making now, they can take that as a loss
Right.
in comparison to all the money that they were making before they went out of business. But you can't just buy something and call it a financial loss like you can do with a car. A car is a depreciating value, so it will be a financial loss upon purchase. A house is not a depreciating value, and empty, undeveloped land is not a depreciating value. It actually increases in value the longer you have it. So you can't take it as a loss just because you bought it. You take it as a loss because something happened to it. They burned it down, they blew it up, the gigantic crater turned into a crime scene. It's a graveyard. Now you got to show something happened. It got wasteland credits. You got to show something happened that it's no longer profitable, but you have to show that it was first profitable in order for you to take
Right.
it as a loss. But I appreciate the gesture, fella. He came through. Claim loss as an
I
Airbnb.
mean,
You just got to
it
claim profits.
it is good to like brainstorm new ways to make revenue, but it has to make sense within the
Legal
framework of,
guidelines.
of the tax law. It
Yeah.
has to work, and it's so complex already. It's like I wouldn't even want to try to risk and make something turn into a tax fraud case. Um,
Yeah.
I've never been audited, and never want to be audited.
Me neither. My buddy Joe Mastrano was on the show one time before, and he was talking about this type of information. And he told me to let everybody know if they ever are interested in getting tax information that he would help them out about that. But yeah, before I do something that I'm not sure of, I
Yeah,
definitely put forth the effort to go and talk to a licensed specialist about it, CPA or a tax agent of some sort, so that they can help me understand what I was planning on doing before I do it.
yeah,
But any regular leaps and bounds that I take based off of my regular research, and any risks that I take financially based on my regular research, and whatever I do, whether I claim my own taxes, filing it myself, or go to a licensed agent like TurboTax or H&R Block or whoever else does it these days, the fact is that um, I have to be able to prove that I made money in order for me to prove that I'm entitled for a deduction on something because I spent
right.
money. I
And
can't
some of
just
those,
get a deduction.
some of the deductions are super high. I was reading about one deduction. It's like you have to have $70,000 of itemized deductions in that one category to qualify.
Yes,
And even
yes,
though you have the 75,000 in itemized deductions, it only gave you a $1,500 deduction. you
yeah,
know, so you had to go buy $75,000 in number two pencils because you're a
yeah,
testing company, so it applied to you.
yeah.
Great, you get $1,500 back for spending $75,000. That's
Well, what big business does is they will buy all of the office supplies for next year in quarter four of this year, so that
sure,
whatever tax deduction they get, it's a win-win because they don't have
of
to buy
course,
supplies next year and they saved a little bit of money on their taxation.
yeah, a few percent, yeah,
But like the only massive benefits that you really get is loans and mortgages, and any donations to 501c3 companies, non-profit entities that are publicly funded. Those are the only places where the largest quantity of deductions and deferments go. And people have been utilizing mortgages on houses as deductions. So people who are in real estate will buy a house, mortgage it, buy another house, mortgage that one, buy another house, mortgage that one, build up all of this debt and have the tenants paying the mortgage, which offsets the debt. They will take a piece of the, like, for example, buy a $500,000 house, mortgage it for 300,000, buy a $200,000 house, keep 100,000 in their pocket, put a tenant in there paying rent. I already got paid my 100 grand, and now the tenant is paying the mortgage for the rest of the time outside of the maintenance fees and the property manager. I don't got to worry about it. I already got my 100 grand. That's how people are walking away with it in real estate. But
Sure.
then when you deal with vehicles, you buy company vehicles, which is why you're starting to see more SUVs on the road, even though they're fiscally irresponsible for the economic status of America because gas is high as hell and SUVs are not fuel efficient. But you see so many SUVs out because if it's over 5,000 pounds, it can be considered a commercial vehicle, even if
Yeah.
it's your personal vehicle. You just got to register it with your business, and that's a 100% tax deduction. So that 50,000, $75,000 deduction you were talking about, you bought a company truck, there it is. I bought $90,000 worth of company vehicles one year, and I did not have to pay on $250,000 worth of capital. I was like, shit, yes, made a lot of money, and then bought a bunch of new trucks and didn't have to pay a dime to anybody because I spent more money than what they expected me to spend in that particular bracket. So they credited me on, I think it was like $52,000 worth of taxation that year. But the difference is that you have to legitimately do something directly towards that tax code. You can't just, like this gentleman is saying, oh, just throw a shed on the land and then call it a rustic camp and make it a 501c3 business. And then what he says, put all the dividends into the 501c3 and then pay yourself as an executive director for only administrative costs. Okay, now the rigmarole around that is first, you can't just throw a random shed on an empty plot of land because you have to protect yourself from actually being audited. You have to build a house on that land and use that house as an office. You would have to register your business to that address and then have the 501c3 attached to that business. Then, if you are listed on the business or the nonprofit as a board of directors agent, if you're on the articles of incorporation, then you are considered one of the executive members. And then you have a contract with the entity that allows you to generate revenue from the entity as a salary, where that only applies to people that work more than 40 hours a week towards the business. And you would have to show where your 40 hours a week came from since you
I mean,
technically are one of very few
yeah,
people there. All of that has to happen before that applies. If you don't do all of that, you're just cheating the system, and then they're going to audit you one day. They're going to catch you, back taxes,
right.
and probably put you next to Lil Kim in prison.
And what little Kim, what I've seen and what I've heard from like my neighbor that does a landscaping business, he said the IRS bothered him more when he was a small company getting started out. When he became bigger, they didn't bother him anymore. So I would
Yeah,
like to just start a business. You have, you have
since
them being very
COVID,
suspectful of,
since Donald Trump just found out earlier this year that most people put their children on as the owner of the business so that they could get the business loans from COVID to subsidize their standards of living,
yeah, that
all
was
startups
crazy.
are going to get a lot of scrutiny.
Yeah,
All startups are getting screwed. But if you start generating big money off of it, they assume you're established and they're not gonna mess with you anymore.
right,
But you can't create a shell company for tax evasion. It doesn't work that way. You can create a legitimate business. You can create a 501c3 as a W 2 worker. And if you use an
sure,
LLC status, you can benefit from business tax deductions from your W 2 because you already gave the government taxes out of your paycheck against your will because your employer gave it to them before they paid you your money. And then when
right,
you show the government that you're taking your hard earned income and investing it in your startup business, they give you back the money that your job took out of your paycheck. But that's what an LLC does. It reimburses you. If you are a 1099 worker, an LLC is not going to do anything that a C corporation is not going to do, which is give you tax deductions towards the money you spent towards the profits you made. Long as you show the government that you spent more money than you made, or you spent more than 60% of the money that you made
Yeah,
reinvesting into the company, they're going to
that
give you a
10
lot of deductions.
that 1099 thing is really tough because there's a lot of blue collar workers that make 100 or 200,000 a year, and then they wait till the very last month and they start putting the money aside for the taxes because they didn't put the
Mhm.
money aside for taxes. I think it's extremely foolish the way that that's set up, but for
If
whatever
you're going to do
reason,
a 1099, it is smarter for you to send them money quarterly based off of
yeah,
what you think you might owe them. And then when you do your taxes at the end of the year, if you
right,
overestimate it, you're entitled to a refund. If
yeah,
you
because
underestimate it, you don't owe them that much.
yeah, to come up with 20% of 100 grand's a lot out of nowhere.
Especially if you're living from paycheck to paycheck because you already spent it.
Right. So yeah, and see that's is a lot of problem with the Americans. We overspend the money that we don't have. Even if
And
we
that's
have $100,000 job, it's all these expectations in our society that say we need the newer model car, the house.
$98,000 of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got to go out to eat and spend $150. All of that chips away at your net worth as a whole over the
Yeah.
year. And if you itemize them and you find out that you're spending $15,000 at Red Lobster every year, it's like, yeah, that's too much. I only went there once a week. I said, well, there's 52 weeks in a year.
I actually started breaking it down and started showing folks that their average natural habits are way worse than going to Red Lobster because a pack of cigarettes is $10 a box, and you buy a carton, you're
Yeah,
spending a
all
hundred
the
a hundred
vices.
twenty dollars a carton, and you're spending 4 cartons a month because you smoke 2 packs a week, and now you're spending $400 to $500 a month on just cigarettes. People who and you do that once a month for 12 months, and now you're upward of $7,000 on just smoking. People who drink beer. I love alcohol, but people who drink beer, they're buying $25 cases, $50 cases of beer, and you're buying 3, 4 cases of beer every week. You're spending $200 a week on beer. You're spending $600 to $800 a month on beer. That is $8 to $12,000 a year on beer. Between the beer and cigarettes that you spend as a natural habit, you're spending $25,000 of your income. You could have put that in a
Well,
stock option and turned that to thirty-five
yeah,
thousand dollars.
yeah, that habit has turned into an addiction because when it's in
Yeah,
excess that you spend so much money versus if you bought a case of beer one time a month and you partied one weekend, 1 month, that would be $50.
yes.
If it gets to the point where it's $400 to $600, I mean, I'd rather be investing the money.
But nobody really realizes that until after I put up those numbers. Because you think
Yeah,
about it,
uh,
if you always have beer in your fridge, no matter how fast it's drunk, you don't realize how much money you're spending on beer, especially if
sure.
you've got a rewards card and then you use the rewards card, get discounts on it
They're paying
sometimes.
me to drink. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they think. They're paying me to drink. But the mentality is that you're wasting a bunch of money in order for them to reimburse you that percentage.
yeah,
So the thought is that when you calculate how much money per month you spend, that's when people start thinking, oh, dip, I'm wasting a lot of money. People who like to go out on the weekends, $20 for the valet parking, 15, $20 for the club to get in. You spent almost $40 to get in the door, 2 drink minimum, usually around $10 to $20 a glass. You're going to buy 2 glasses. That's 40 more dollars. You just spent $80. You're talking to this cute girl. You get her 2 drinks. You get yourself 2 more drinks. You just spent 80 more dollars. You're at $160 tonight. And if you did that twice a week, that's $320, $340 a month plus the gas to do it. And you start thinking about how you do that 4 times a month because you only go out on the weekends, you're spending $1,200 a month dating. You multiply that by 12 months, you're doing what, 12 or $15,000 a month worth of dating. You add that on top of your habit of drinking and smoking, and now you're spending almost $40,000 a year on non-essential spending. That's not going to a restaurant yourself. That's not taking the girl out on dates. You add that to your cost as well. The like we
yeah.
discussed before, $100 to $200 a date. You add that on top of what we've already sitting at $35,000 worth of wasteful spending. And now you add the cost of taking the girl out to the dates on top of that. Now we're upward of $45,000 a year that we're not putting into our household. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, shit, if I can get 168% return using my dividend rotation strategy, I can put $40,000 away every year and get back $60,000 a year worth of money. Or actually, well, 168%, I could turn 40,000 into like 92,000 every year if I'm up on a regular basis. But reasonably speaking, I could turn 40,000 into about 60 or 70,000, expecting some losses somewhere, some mistakes happening somewhere, but I would still be potentially possessing $75,000 extra dollars a year, which could likely double and quadruple itself to close to $1 million within 10 to 15 years. Where the habits that I'm wasting that money, yeah, I can remember a decade of college life and then think 5 more years, I would have been a millionaire if I'd have invested that money.
Right.
So you have a lot of memories, but you could have been rich, making more memories. Now think
Better
about that million
memories.
dollar principle.
Yeah, yeah.
To to the tax blanket, the tax blanket that you got for your money sitting still, $97,000 of dividends off at 9% would be like closer to $1 million. At 20% would be closer to like seven or $800,000. So if you're able to pocket 40,000 a year principal, 30,000 a year dividend added to your principal, and you're adding 70,000 every year or more because you're going to get that extra every year.
Right.
You're looking at within 5 or 10 years, you're well over 800 or $900,000, which means that you still have that $90,000 dividend payout every year. And you started with probably a $20,000 standard of living, which is why you was able to spend $45,000 on entertainment. And that $20,000 standard living now has a $90,000 salary coming to it, plus your full time job. And then you ask yourself, why didn't I do this sooner? Because nobody thought about it.
Good
That's
point.
the logic behind it, and that's why I tell everybody about where to go and where to invest, because it's not about, because I don't own any of these companies. I did the research, I curated it, I follow these stock options on a regular basis. I want to update the show on a regular basis with the updated stock options, but not always do I get to the show on time, and I don't want to spend another 30 minutes putting it in there and start the show excessively late. So I don't always
Yeah.
update it. But I follow these stocks every day. I don't look at them once a month. I'm looking at them every day before I go to bed and as soon as I wake up in the morning. Because the stock market opens at 9:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. It closes at 4 in the afternoon, and it changes for after market bidding that happens between 5 and 9. So when I start the
Right.
show at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I can see between 9 and 11 all of the changes that happened since the last time I looked at it before I went to bed this morning.
Yeah.
And
I gotta get going out of here too, Xander.
all
This
right,
is
I
my
appreciate you swinging by. By all means,
time
dive
paying.
in.
I'm glad I could chime in when I get a chance. So thanks for
Oh,
having
whenever
me
you're
again.
always welcome. I actually encourage more people to jump in because if we had 10 people on the screen, we would have a very big group discussion.
Yeah, I think we can get there as more people come along. So
It's a work in progress because since this is an educated platform with just men on it, it's less likely to have as many
yeah,
followers, as many positive and appropriate people. But let me get two women on this show that has some cleavage. We will have 100,000 followers in the chat instant. And I
yeah.
don't understand why men don't support each other with building themselves up. But if the two of us
Well,
look like Harley Quinn, we would have too many comments to read right now.
yeah. Well, there are young men that are doing that because 10 years from now they're gonna regret donating to some random woman streamer and say,
On
"Wow, I
home.
just gave $100 for no reason. You know, she doesn't even know me, but she said thank you in the chat on the live stream."
Right, right. But you came here and I told you gave me $100 and then I told you how to make 2,000 bucks. When people start realizing that that's what's going on here, that's when they're going to come. This is one of the most underrated shows on YouTube because there's no conflict, there's no chaos, there's no devaluation, which is what people look for entertainment. They want to see chaos, they want to see people fighting, they want to see devastation. They want to see somebody humiliating themselves for a laugh so that they can get clicks, and that's not what's happening here. Then the other half of the group are looking for sexualization. So they want to see girls in attractive outfits. They want to see girls overly exposed, leaning into the camera and all this other stuff. And when that doesn't happen, they're not interested in it. But if you hang out on the show long enough, you're like, oh, dang, we got a group of educated men having educated conversations about how to not be broke anymore. That is,
Right.
it's the type of the core foundation of what I started this podcast for is the good old boys apprenticeship style knowledge being passed down from generation to generation.
Sure.
And it's something that we have forgotten, and about 85% of Americans do not teach their kids what they don't know, and they didn't learn it from their parents, so they don't have the knowledge to teach their kids. So I just started teaching everybody because I'm like, well, ain't no kids here, but if everybody learned from me, then they will do the research, make some changes. And just like Jesse came and told me about it, and Jesse's not the only person that came and told me about it, how they took my advice, they did the research, they're saving money in different places, investing in different places, and they're excited that they got the knowledge from me to motivate them to do the research. And
Right.
that's what I'm here for, because knowledge is supposed to be common, and there's so much of it accessible on the internet. It is not common knowledge anymore because we've developed tunnel vision to only focus on what directly impacts us right now. And for the most of us,
Sure.
it's video games, that hot chick on a TikTok video, the water dance, fights, the police raids, people getting gunned down at traffic stops, people attacking
Yeah.
the police, wars on the other side of the planet. And that none of that is about learning how to make your life better. But those same people will be in my comment section telling me how their life sucks. And I ask them, well, why haven't you been hanging out on the show long enough to make your life not suck anymore? As soon as you start making the active decisions to change the stuff inside of your control to make your life better, then you will be able to be more satisfied with your life. Because if until you and I had that conversation about your stock option, you would have thought
Mm.
that you were making the best decision about your stock option. But as soon as we finished having that stock option, you had a holy shit moment and you realized you could be better and keep your stock option and still expand on it. And you ain't had to give me a dollar for that.
But yeah, of
But
course.
people
I
think,
mean, your situation only changes once your perspective changes from somebody in a better position, um, that can show you that. I mean, of course, honestly, I wasn't even thinking about doing anything with it. So,
yeah,
but
no, you don't know what questions to ask until somebody sparks your intellect with new
right,
knowledge.
right,
So I change the questions by bringing you more information. And then as soon as I start, one or two things will happen. You're going to think, oh, he's full of shit. I'm going to do some research and then find out that I'm right. And then the other people are like, oh, damn, I didn't know that. And they're going to do the research and find out that I'm right. And then they find out how they can take action on the information that I gave them. And that's when they start seeing benefit. Once you put the mindset to making change, that's when the ball starts rolling. And you're not going to stop, because once you see how successful you could have been had you known this sooner, you're going to take action on it right now. And that's going to make you successful in the future. My goal is to teach people to start their 20-year plan now, since we didn't start it last year and the year before. Start your 20-year plan now and find a way to have, within 10 to 15 years, you don't have to work for somebody, you choose to. And within 20 years, you quit working because you don't need to. And that way you are the best person you can be, because when you and I are 60, we should probably have two Filipino women and three children there, and we should be satisfied with our accomplishments in life. Regardless of how
yeah,
much money you got, we don't need to work. Our kids don't need to work. Our wives don't need to work, plural, because we should have two of them. And everybody's happy. And we get to spend time with our family, because men spend 75% of their life building their empire so that the
yeah.
last 25 years of their life they can enjoy it. I don't want any men to die early and never get the opportunity to quit working and enjoy the life they built for themselves. So I'm every time I hear something from somebody, I'm just trying to give you guys extra knowledge to just tweak what you're doing, make it better for yourself. That way, in 20 years, you can say, I am this successful because I saw Xander's podcast. My
Yeah,
success
I agree.
is the legacy of the people around me. The success of the people around me, that is my legacy.
Yep.
So in 20 years, you and I will both be millionaires.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna get
I
out of here.
appreciate you coming, Dylan. I'll see
I
you
gotta get
tomorrow.
it.
Have a good night.
Nah.
Eric, you had actually asked me where you from, fries, and do you have $1 million? Okay, so to talk to the Dylan says, all right, guys, I'm out for the night. Hope everyone's having a great show and take your time. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe when y'all come to the channel. Anybody else that would like to dive into the channel appropriately, feel free to do so. I have to adjust the screen so that when Dylan comes in, I can do like a picture in picture for him so that we can see him better. We're going to figure that out after the show because I don't have much ability to edit too many things during the show, but I'm going to try to figure it out. Either way, if you want to click the link, approve the mic, approve the camera, and I bring you guys on. Now, Eric, you asked me, do I have $1 million? For the sake of the IRS listening, I am broker than broke, broke, broke. I'm broke. Dylan's broke. Michael's broke. We're all broke. We have no money. For any women that are looking for free child support, we are broke, broke. We don't have a pot, neither a window. We don't have a spoon. We broke, broke. And why are we broke, broke? Because billionaires don't talk about their money. Okay, we're going to give you guys the path to go from not having enough money to pay your bills to having more than enough money to retire by telling you every day, every week, every month the little things that you can change in your life to make your life that much easier for you to make yourself that much more money so that you can invest in yourself so that your future can be better than your past. That's what we're going to do. Now, if you don't become a millionaire because of that, it's not because we didn't tell you the direction you could have went to make yourself successful. It's because you didn't apply it. Some people might decide to stop early. Some people might have frivolous spending that they want to get into before they start making themselves a millionaire. Some people might work towards it and then have a family emergency, put a kid in college. But guess what? The extra money you had to take care of that family emergency, to take care of putting that kid into college, to take care of that private school, to take care of that unexpected child support payment, you only had that extra money because you came to the show. You learned the information from me, Dylan, and Michael on how you guys can make yourselves more successful and then you applied that so that you had more capital gains so that you then could do more for the people around you. So building wealth as a man isn't just a selfish act in order for you to be rich yourself. Building wealth as a successful man is so that you can take care of all of the people that you love and care about that is under your authority. That's the sole purpose of building wealth as a successful man. Now, outside of that, the only thing that a man is going to do when he is not taking care of other people is he is going to utilize that capital for his own personal desires, entertainment, wasteful spending, irresponsible behavior, because he does not have a purpose in life. He doesn't have a duty to protect and provide for anybody. But if you've got anybody, a sister, a cousin, an auntie, a grandma doing chemo, an uncle that need a lung, and that operation costs money, and you got that extra money because you came to the show, that is what we're here for. So if y'all stick around, y'all like and subscribe, mash those reaction buttons, hit the follow button on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, and come to the show every week. You will see what we got going on because while we're not overly attractive women in scantily clad outfits, we have something worth sitting here for 3 hours a day every day of the week. Because instead of playing video games where you're spending $100 a day on your video games to update your avatar, you could be sitting here thinking about different ways to put $300 a week on a stock option, a gold, silver, platinum, uranium, whatever is going on, so that you can have extra money when you do get tired of working for somebody who doesn't respect you. You quit your job and then you start living off of your savings. Now, speeding through our Dubai topic, uh, because I wanted to give you guys the information about Omar. In Omar, we have, let me get back to Omar. Let's see, we have Omar's cost of living in Muscat is about 30 to 50% lower than in Dubai. So this isn't a mirror difference. It's a life altering financial gap between that perspective of Dubai versus the perspective of Omar that impacts every aspect of your daily existence. So we're going to break this down from the beginning. First, your housing. This is the single biggest expense for any American right now and most expats around the world. And the difference is jaw dropping because in Dubai, a standard one bedroom apartment is a desirable in a desirable location can run you about $1,500 a month to $2,000 a month, which is close to the upper lower class cost of living in America. A family sized villa can easily exceed $5,000. Now, let's look at Muscat. A similar high quality one bedroom apartment can be found for between $500 and $1,000 a month, and that is a 50% savings right off the top. A spacious villa in Oman might cost you what a small apartment costs in Dubai. So this isn't about buying a better quality of life for the same price as a cramped apartment in Dubai. You can also have a family home with a garden in Muscat. Next, utilities, electricity, water, and cooling. In Dubai, these cost a famously high price. In Omar, they are dramatically lower. This is reoccurring monthly savings that adds up to thousands of dollars over the course of a year. When you think about paying $500 a month or $1,000 a month for a family of five apartment in Omar, and then you think about how you're paying $3,000 to $5,000 a month in the United States for a two-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment in California, or more, you think about how you would have saved $2,000 a month on just the rent. Over the course of a year, you'd have saved $24,000 a year, right? But there's transportation because in Omar, owning a car is pretty essential. But the costs are even lower because as of 2024, fuel in Oman was significantly cheaper per liter than in the UAE. And importantly, there are no road tolls like in Dubai's Salik system, which is a constant drain from daily commuters. So while you might have to drive more in Oman, the cost of doing so is a fraction of what it would be in the Emirates. So what about the education? Because for expats, um, the expat families, this is often a make or break factor. The UAE is a vast selection of world class international schools, but they come with a world class price tag, with the annual fees of $15,000 to $20,000 per child being common. In Oman, the international schools are also of a very high standard, but the fees are substantially more manageable, often ranging between $5,000 and $12,000 per year for a family of two kids or three kids, the savings on education alone can be a transformative decision maker. He says, I can't get that in Pittsburgh or Mississippi. Yeah, kid, not too many people can find $500 a month for a really good apartment anywhere in the United States. There's no way you can get that $500 a month anywhere in the United States. You show me an address that is not a rundown apartment for $500 a month for a three bedroom, two bathroom. Show me because I've been on Zillow. They don't exist. $500 a month rent. Rent these days in some of the cheapest places in the country for two bedroom, one bathrooms are typically around $750 to $950 a month plus utilities. So for the rent to be 500 flat, you're not finding that. And when you start talking about four-bedroom villas, bro, we're not talking about an apartment. We're talking about like a house, four, five-bedroom house for under $1,500 a month. We typically charge more than $1 per square foot. So a 1,500 square foot house is $1,500. A 2,000 square foot villa for $1,500, you're not finding that in America. 2,000 square foot house In America, probably $2,500 guaranteed. And if it's a two story house, they're going to charge you $1.50 per square foot guaranteed. If they don't charge you $2 per square foot, even daily expenses and groceries and dining out are more affordable. Meals at restaurants, from cheap eats to mid-range dining, are consistently 30 to 50% cheaper in Muscat, while Dubai has more extensive ranges of high-end options for everyday life. Oman is simply gentler on your wallet. So when you add it all up, the financial case for Oman becomes overwhelmingly compelling, and it raises powerful questions. Does a higher salary in Dubai actually mean more savings if a higher portion of it is consumed by a high cost of living? Many are finding that with a moderate salary in Oman, their disposable income is actually greater. And that's not about being cheap, it's about being smart. Because if you take the salary that you make in California, $250,000 salary in California gets you an average middle class apartment. $250,000 in, say, Tennessee or Arkansas would give you a probably a mansion, because the standard of living in those states is closer to $25,000, $30,000 requirement. So if you're making $250,000 from California as a remote worker in a city and state that has less than 300,000 population in the state, less than 20,000 population in the city, you're looking at finding places. But you might be able to buy the whole house with an annual salary, right? Crazy. And this is where Oman and Dubai diverge most profoundly. There are two different philosophies of living. Dubai is a city built on vertical axis. It's about reaching the sky. The energy is infectious and constant buzz of activity, ambition, and entertainment. It is relentlessly modern, fast paced, and designed for convenience, which is why they can run out of gas and call somebody and have them put gas in their car. Whereas we got to go find a gas station. It's for the person who thrives on energy and wants to be at the center of all the action. Omen, by contrast, is built on a horizontal axis, and it's about a vastness of landscape and the depth of its history. The pace of life in Muscat is notably slower, more deliberate. The architecture tells a story. By law, building in Muscat are low rise, reflecting traditional designs. Buildings are low rise buildings, not high rise buildings. There are no competing skyscrapers there. Instead, you find elegant whitewashed buildings that blend into the dramatic backdrop of the huge, rugged Hajar Mountains and the serene Arabian Sea. This is going to translate directly into the lifestyle. Omen is for a person who wants to breathe. It's for the family that wants to spend weekends exploring a hidden wada, hiking in the mountains of Jebel Akhdar, or watching turtles nest in the beaches of Ras Al Jinn, where Dubai offers man made theme parks. Oman offers nature theme parks. It's a country of staggering natural beauty that encourages you to get out and explore its ancient forts, vibrant squalls, and thousands of kilometers of unspoiled coastlines. And this creates a different social fabric. While Dubai is expats seen for huge encounters, it can also be transient. In Oman, the expat community is smaller, but often described as more integrated and tight knit. There's a greater emphasis on hospitality and building genuine connection with other expats and the incredibly welcoming Oman people. Uh, this society is going to be more conservative than Dubai, which expats must respect. But this is coupled with a deep seated culture of tolerance and politeness. Public displays of affection are discouraged, and Modest dress is expected, but this is contributing to the feeling of profound safety and respect, with something we completely forgot in the United States. So for families, this environment is a huge draw. Life is less about frantic rush and more about spontaneous trips to the beach, community gatherings, and a sense of neighborhood safety where children have more freedom. This isn't to say Oman is boring. Muscat has frantic restaurants, modern shopping areas, and a world class Royal Opera House. But the entertainment is less about uh, spectacle and more about culture and community. So for some, the slower pace might be a deal breaker, but for a growing number of people, especially in a post-pandemic world where work-life balance is a priority, the this particular situation sounds less like boredom and more like sanity. Dubai sells a dream of having it all, and Oman offers a dream of living well. For decades, the smallest investment played in the Middle East was simple: go to Dubai. But a new narrative is taking hold. While Dubai is a mature, some might say saturated market, Oman is emerging as the region's most compelling growth story. And this isn't about copying Dubai, but forging a different, more sustainable path guided by a master plan called Oman's Vision 2024. He said, can I have three wives? In most countries around the world, having a legally government sanctioned multiple wife scenario typically only occurs when you are in the type of religion that authorizes multiple wives. Because most governments around the world does not blend religion and law into its infrastructures, where the law does not tell you how your religious beliefs should be performed, and your religious beliefs are not supposed to compromise law. And I do believe it's the Muslim culture, but I'm not exactly sure. But the culture that the religion that allows you to have multiple wives is the one that you typically do that with. Dubai has a habit of the multiple wife atmosphere, but the majority of the culture has the same religion. So whether it is a law in Dubai or a religious practice in Dubai, what matters is that can you get three wives in Dubai and fly all three of them to America? Not without showing proof that you have the type of religious background, and all of y'all have the type of religious background where your three wives is your family. Now, Vision 2040 is the blueprint for weaning the country off oil dependency and building a diversified, innovative economy. And this is about strategic, long term development backed by like the $5.2 billion Omen Future Fund, which partners with private investors to de risk major projects. So the strategy is working to attract a strong and growing flow of foreign direct investors. So, where are the opportunities? Let's start with the headline grabbers: renewable energy. A lot of people are on that one. Oman is leveraging its abundant sun and wind to become the future global superpower in green hydrogen. Mega projects like Green Energy Oman and the Amena project are planning to generate gigawatts of renewable power to produce green hydrogen and ammonium for export. The country is even developing a liquefied hydrogen corridor to ship this clean fuel from the Oman port of Dunkum directly to the port of Amsterdam in Europe. And this isn't just building a few solar farms, it's building the entire supply chain for the fuel of the future. And this leads to our second pillar: logistics and industry. Don't worry, we're almost done, guys. Omen's strategic location outside the volatile strait of Hormuz is a massive geopolitical and economic advantage. It's making multi-billion-dollar investments to transform its ports at Duqm, Sohar, and Salalah into world-class industrial hubs. And these aren't just ports, they're sprawling special economic zones offering incredible incentives like the 100% foreign ownership, zero import duties, and corporate tax holidays that can last for up to 30 years. While Dubai is a phenomenal hub, its success has created congestion. Oman offers a streamlined, strategically secure alternative. Then there's tourism. Dubai is modeled and built on scale. Oman is taking a different approach, focusing on high volume niche tourism, ecotourism, which has become a huge thing in 2025, adventure travel like The Rock on Jumanji, and wellness retreats. For small investors, this opens up a world of opportunities. Think boutique, eco lodges, um, curated diving tours, and high quality culinary experiences. And then what about real estate? Because every country has real estate as a profitable endeavor. Dubai's property market is famous for high returns, but also volatility. Oman offers stability and growth potential. Foreigners can buy free household property in designated integrated tourism complexes, ITCs, and doing so can grant you residency. Property prices are significantly lower than in Dubai, yet rental years are highly competitive, often ranging from 5 to 8%. With Oman's population projecting to grow, the demand for housing is expected to be strong and sustained. Finally, there is the environment for small and medium sized entrepreneurs. While setting up in Dubai can be hyper competitive and expensive, Oman offers a calmer, more supportive ecosystem. The government has simplified regulations, allowing 100% foreign ownership in most sectors, and provides a one stop shop to guide the entrepreneurs through the process. The opportunities are everywhere for those in the right idea. Omen isn't trying to be the biggest, it's trying to be the smartest. It's targeting strategic sectors where it has a unique advantage. For investors who value long term stability over short term speculation and who seeks the potential in a market just beginning its growth curve. Omen in 2025 is simply the most intelligent investment. Now, to be completely clear, this is not an eloge for Dubai. Declaring Dubai over would be foolish. For a certain type of person and business, it remains the absolute best choice to go to Dubai. Who is that person? It's the high earning, ambitious professional, the trader, the investment broker, the tech CEO who thrives on hyper competitive environments. If your business model relies on attractive venture capital or serving the ultra high net worth market, Dubai's ecosystem is simply unmatched for you. That is a perfect place to go. It is also for the person who craves ultimate uh, convenience and a truly globalized lifestyle. If your perfect weekend involves brunch at a celebrity chef's restaurant and shopping for luxury brands, then Dubai delivers that in a way Muscat simply cannot. But for those who want the energy of New York, the polish of Singapore, and the sunshine of the Arabian Gulf all rolled into one, there Dubai is paradise. The tax situation can also still be more favorable because the UAE's 9% corporate tax only applies to profits above the high threshold, and many free zones still offer tax free conditions. For a large, high profitable enterprise, this might still be more advantageous than Oman's standard corporate tax outside of its own tax free zones. So the point isn't to declare a winner, but to highlight a choice. For years, Dubai is seen as the only choice. That is no longer the case. The emergence of Oman provides a vital and compelling alternative. So is Oman the next Dubai, but cheaper and better? The answer is yes and no. It's not the next Dubai if that means a carbon copy of skyscrapers and mega malls. Oman is wisely choosing not to walk that path. It is carving out its own identity based on sustainable cultural authenticity and a more balanced approach to life. But nevertheless, it is always the way that you do it that matters most to the new generation? And the answer is a resounding yes, because it is cheaper dramatically. So, allowing for a high quality of life at a greater savings for the average individual. And any individual who recognizes this will find that this is much better than the expensive lifestyles of Dubai. It's better for families who want a connection to nature. It is better for entrepreneurs who want to enter a growing market. It is better for investors who seek stable long term returns in future proof sectors like green energy. And it is better for anyone searching for a place that offers both opportunity and peace. Dubai will forever be a dazzling city of the future, but Oman is quietly building a future that is phrased in perhaps more of a timely tuned title of a future that is not just about growth, but about quality, not just about wealth, but about well being. So, for the person seeking a fast track career in a hyper urban playground, Dubai remains the undisputed king. But for the family man, the nature lover, the savvy investor, and the person looking to build a life, not just a resume, the quiet, majestic, and affordable uh, salinity of Omen isn't just the next big thing. In 2025, it's already here. So, what are your thoughts? If you're living in or visited ever both of these countries, what has your experience been? What factors are most important to you when choosing a place to live and invest? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. And if you found that this analysis helped and the rest of the conversations that we have today was up your alley, make sure that you like and subscribe for more deep global discussions that we have at least once a week on Wednesdays. Now, before we go, I want to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you, ladies, to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. And then I want to say thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate That's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.